And our fourth main topic today gets submitted to us by Mercier Creates, writes, "Hey, John, great show as usual. Thank you, man. Looks like it's a done deal, aside from the long government approval process, as the news started getting around this morning that Amazon has bought MGM for close to $9 billion. I believe the final number was like $8.45 billion or something like that. The news started getting around this morning that Amazon has bought MGM for close to $9 billion. Thoughts on this deal and how all these huge new purchases have basically changed the entertainment industry as we know it." All right. Thanks a lot for sending that in, man. Appreciate that. And yes, Rob, we talked about it a little while ago that there were rumblings going around. We've known for a long time that MGM was putting itself up for sale. We've known that. And then a little while ago, we talked about there were rumblings going around that Amazon could be a main player. Amazon could be the main one kicking the tires on MGM and measuring up if it was something they wanted to do. And Rob, you and I said at the time, we both thought that would be a good fit. We thought when you look at the library that MGM has, I think it's like several thousand movies, 17,000 episodes of television, all this kind of stuff, great stuff for library. Plus, they own a lot of creative IP that gives them opportunities to create new originals. And now it is indeed a done deal. This comes to us from the folks at Amazon or at Variety, who writes, "For Amazon, snapping up MGM, which has more than 4,000 movies, there we go, and 17,000 TV shows in its catalog, is a way to supercharge its Prime Video service with a slew of well-known entertainment titles. In addition, Amazon is anticipating being able to mine Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, that's MGM, properties like the Pink Panther, Rocky, and yes, the 007 franchise for brand new originals." So, Rob, this really becomes a double win for Amazon. Because number one, we always talk about this, Rob, the key to the future of the streaming wars is exclusive content. They just bought up a whole bunch of high profile, not just movies, but a lot of high profile television as well, that is now at some point in the near future going to become exclusive to Amazon Prime Video. So that by itself almost makes the deal worth it for them. But on top of that, they also are going to be able to have access to a lot of IPs that they can create originals with. Where I get excited about something like that is that Amazon has shown that they actually believe, while they do definitely make movies direct for Amazon Prime Video, they also believe in the theatrical window. They believe that a movie out in theaters makes that movie later coming on their streaming service more successful on the streaming service. As a matter of fact, this comes to us from the folks over at The Hollywood Reporter who write the following. "Still, the announcement left many key questions unanswered regarding the future of how MGM movies will be released once Amazon officially owns the storied studio. Unlike Netflix, Amazon Studios has been supportive of theaters, including giving many of its original movies an exclusive release in cinemas before they launch on Prime." And Rob, you and I have talked about that before, and the key to that is because Amazon, their head of content, has said, we just believe, like for instance, they said, I remember when they talked about The Big Sick, that fantastic Kumail Nanjiani movie. Love that movie. But they said, if we had just dropped The Big Sick on Amazon Video, nobody would have known about it.
Right.
But we put it in theaters. It got big promo. It got big word of mouth. And then we brought it over to Amazon Prime Video after the theatrical window. And it's been a great performer for us on Amazon. They believe in that model. And so now you're looking... They now own the rights to the Pink Panther. They have they can make new Rocky content and the Rocky universe content. Hundreds of other IPs, including, Rob, I mean, the Broccoli's are also co-owners of the thing, but they go into detail in the Hollywood Reporter report that says that, you know, they now are all part owners of the Bond thing, although the Broccoli's have absolute direct say in the marketing and the movie and the casting and all that kind of stuff. But MGM is a partner in that as well. Now Amazon can work with the Broccoli's if they want to make future Bond films as well, that I'm certain are going to be theatrical. Rob, you and I have said for a while that do not sleep on Amazon. Amazon and Apple, for that matter. Amazon is one of the most valuable companies in the world. They can buy and sell Disney 5 times over without blinking. Without blinking. They have all the resources in the world, and they have decided they want to get involved in entertainment. And they have done a great job with movies like The Big Sick, with television shows like The Boys or The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, and a lot of the other great stuff they've put on there as well. They're serious, they've got deep pockets, and they are planning for the future, and they just made a major move that I think, Rob, some people are saying that they thought Amazon overpaid. I am telling you, for what they just got, I think $8.5 billion is a steal. I think they just made a great move, and I think it's a terrific move for Amazon. I think this gives actual massive liquidity to MGM now as a studio. And by the way, Rob, the reports say that MGM is going to remain as a unit under Amazon. It's going to give them all the resources in the world to continue to do the work that they want to do. Rob, I just don't see a downside for this, because if Amazon didn't step in and somebody else didn't step in, 5 years from now, I don't think MGM was going to exist. That roaring lion was going to be gone. And so I think this is really, really interesting and really, really good news for MGM and Amazon. Rob, you had a chance to digest a whole bunch of this. Where are your thoughts on this right now?
Well, like you, I mean, I've loved the MGM brand my whole life. I mean, one of my favorite things in life was seeing the stylized graphic treatment of the MGM logo at the front of 2001: A Space Odyssey. And I've loved MGM my whole life. I love that roaring lion. And if we can see this studio come back, I mean, obviously MGM, I don't remember a time when MGM wasn't in some kind of financial straits. And now I would love to see this come back. I mean, what's great, I think, about all this is the studios themselves, movie studios, they barely hang on. They're not a large margin business. They're not, as many times as we hear, like, oh my God, this movie made $3 billion. The studios don't get all of that money. And so to have Amazon backing a studio, now the studio still has to make great product. You still need very talented people to be making the movies there and to be making the decisions there. But I love to see that this brand that's over 100 years old now, to come back and continue on and hopefully have its luster restored to it, is exciting to me. And I'm hoping that one of the great things about these streaming companies, it's giving these studios a little bit more financial stability. They can cash flow things. The economics work differently than if it was a standalone studio. So I'm hoping, like you said, that it's a good thing. But again, what's really important is to still make great movies and great content, because at the end of the day, if you're not doing that, you're not doing the very thing that you're supposed to be doing. And if that's not happening, well, that's bad. So it's still up to the studios to carry themselves and make good stuff, which means you need great executives with vision, that love movies, that hire the right people to make the great things that we all want to see, that are theatrically released and do well, and then also become draws on Amazon Prime. So let's hope they do that.
And that's going to be that. And Rob, I remember a while ago, this would be months ago, somebody asked, hey, 5 years from now, what are going to be like the top 4 streaming services? And I remember we put on that list that Amazon Prime and Apple TV Plus are going to be in those top 4, maybe even in the top 2. And people, wait, they're barely a footprint. And we said at the time, listen, these are companies that are the 2 biggest companies in the world. They don't do anything willy-nilly. They have both decided that we are taking the entertainment space seriously, and we are going to make major investments in them. They have all the platform reach in the world when you're talking about Apple's ecosystem, and when you're talking about Amazon with its own platforms like the Fire Stick and all that kind of stuff, the Apple TV, all that sort of stuff. And more importantly, they, compared to other studios, including Disney and Warner Brothers, they have unlimited resources. They have the resolve, they have the resources, they have the platforms, and they have the reach. They are going to be 2 of the probably top 3 streaming services 5 years from now. And I think moves like this, acquiring an MGM and that library, Rob, that library that they're getting on top of all the IP they can now create things with. I think RoboCop is a part of that as well. So actually, I think it was Variety has a big list of all the IP that Amazon is now going to own, and it's an impressive list that gives them a lot of interesting options in the future. Now, some people are asking, Rob, a very, very good question. In the immediate, what does this mean for No Time to Die? And I understand. I see a lot of people writing in and asking this question. What does this mean for No Time to Die? It doesn't mean anything for No Time to Die. No Time to Die is going to come out and be in theaters long before this deal is ever finalized and before it gets final government approval. But even if Amazon took over the company today, it really wouldn't mean anything for it. They would still follow through with their plans and stuff like that. And at 007, at least for the foreseeable future, Amazon, obviously, because we've already talked about the Hollywood Reporter report, they totally believe in putting their movies in theaters because they think it helps their streaming services.
Yeah, they actually, Eon, which is Barbara Broccoli and Michael Wilson's company, released a statement today, according to Deadline, that says, "We are committed to continuing to make James Bond films for the worldwide theatrical audience," and that it is going to go exclusively theatrical.
Yeah, which is exactly what Amazon's philosophy has been for other than their, the movies they specifically make to put directly onto streaming and stuff like that. They love the theatrical model. So, I think this is good stuff.
John, I mean, we talk about things like having a Bond universe. I would love to see them go back and readapt all of the Bond novels, but make them period pieces again. So go back and do like a James Bond series where you adapt, say, a book a season and really expand them and maybe start them post World War II. You could actually see James Bond's career as part of the British Navy, which we've never really seen. And you go back and you just readapt. Who wouldn't watch that? You find somebody, if you could find somebody like a Henry Cavill to play a Bond, and you knew you were going to make all the Bond books and set them between the end of World War II to, say, 1965, cover that 20-year period of time, that could be dope. I would love to see something like that.
Yeah, I mean, but also think about too, Rob, like a lot of people have been saying for a long time that with like 007, there is, if you look, all the rage is cinematic universe. If you want to do that, then tell some stories about 003.
Right.
Tell some stories about 009. Like you can do a cinematic universe type thing here, and you can create these other super spies that are very fundamentally different from James, and you can create other adventures and things like that. And then later you can do an Avengers type thing where 003, 007, 009, and 006 together, and they're all teaming up to go and take on, I don't know who, being led by Henry Cavill as James Bond. The reason a lot of us keep saying Henry Cavill is because he was the runner-up to play Bond to Daniel Craig. If they didn't pick Craig, Henry Cavill was the next guy they were going to pick. But anyway, this goes way beyond Bond. I mean, it goes way beyond Bond. There's a lot of existing content and a lot of intellectual IP that Amazon just got control of. Again, this gives a fresh injection of life into MGM Studios. It gives brand new content to Amazon, and I think they got it for a good price. End of the day, I think this is a great deal. The question is for you guys. What do you think about this deal? Are you concerned about it? Do you really not care about any of the properties that belong to MGM? A lot of us certainly do. Do you think this is a good move for them, a bad move, win-win? What do you guys think? Jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys.